La 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 la
We
la
are live.
la 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 la. Okay.
Scabba-da-da-da, scabba-da-dee-dee-da, skiddy-dee-da. That's a good little remix, that thing.
Yeah.
So, you've had a busy morning, have you?
Busy morning, man. Well, it hasn't been too bad. I just slept in. We had a house viewing at 11:30, and they just took a long old time, which is fine. We just weren't expecting it.
Yeah.
And Beth wanted a coffee. We didn't have any milk, so we went to Starbucks. And so I'm having a really overpriced breakfast wrap.
Yeah. Yeah, shit's so overpriced, man. It's the same as like Nero's as well. Like I love Nero's and like I go there for coffees quite a lot. Pretty much every weekend. But my God, if you want to buy like a panini there, like that, yeah, it's £6. It's just like,
Yeah.
why is it £6? I can go to M&S
Yeah.
and get like a full meal for this for two. Like, why is your panini more expensive than an M&S meal?
M&S?
Yeah, I
My
know, right?
dude. My dude's raking in the ad money.
No, you can though. Literally, you can buy like an M&S fucking meal for like under a fiver, and it's like they're charging like £5 for a fucking like
Yeah.
square sandwich.
What is it with fucking like cafes charging like a lot of money for food?
Yeah, I
Like,
don't
if
get
anything,
it.
it should be like cheap to get me in the door, so then I'll buy your expensive drinks.
Yeah, because your
I
drinks
don't
are
understand.
already the markup on coffee is ridiculous. Like, it's crazy
Yeah,
considering how cheap coffee is
it's
to
what.
get in, and what they charge per coffee. It's fucking
Yeah,
ridiculous. I don't know why they think they can do
it's
it for
it's
food too.
it's why I can't, in my right mind, like ever buy tea anywhere, because I know it's
Yeah,
just a 2p tea bag and hot water.
yeah, and
I
it's
just
like, and
can't. I
they
can't
charge
spend £2.50 on
like,
that.
yeah, they charge like £2.50, and it's just like I can go and get like 100 bag of Tetley tea for like 150 from the
Yeah.
supermarket. It's 100 bags.
Yeah, man, it's rough out here. The cafe industry
Yeah, dude.
really got us by the balls.
It's a cafe podcast now.
Yeah, I wish I could go on and on.
Yeah, you really
about
can
that.
actually. I don't want to don't want to go on about.
I'll get someone
I
else for it.
I get it enough with your fucking food. I don't want to have it with your coffee as well.
I'm now accepting applicants for the Quick Cafe podcast. The spin-off.
The spin-off podcast.
All right.
Yeah, we're that big. We're big enough that we've got a spin-off now.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my God! Speaking of spin-offs, I mean, this is kind of part of the show, but Henry Caville
Oh
getting
yeah,
replaced by Liam Hemsworth as the Witcher.
yeah.
What's going on there?
I heard about this. This was like breaking news, wasn't it? This happened like last night or something. I think it was like confirmed and reported on. So I remember we were just like,
Yeah, it was.
we were just like watching TV, and Tilly was just like, "Oh, I've heard that Henry Cavill's like been replaced." She's like, "That can't be true." She was just like, "He is the Witcher."
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently,
I'll tell you what. Just jingle while we're having this conversation.
Okay, yeah. Let's do it. Yeah. Apparently, he's been replaced with like Liam Hemsworth or something, isn't he?
Liam Hemsworth. Yeah, that's right.
It's just like it's not bad because I do think you can get a kind of tall, muscly man and just make him look like Geralt, right? With the long white hair, make him look gruff, give him the fucking eye contact, and you can genuinely make a lot of people look like Geralt. It's not like Henry Cavill's the only person that can do it. But
I don't know. I think show's dead. I think show's dead now.
Why didn't they get Chris Pratt to do
like
it?
the guy was such a he was such yeah. It's me, the Witcher.
Like, Chris, wrong script, dude. You're doing too much work, man. Too much going on.
The White Wolf of Revere.
Revere.
Yeah, I like, because the guy is a massive. He like begged to make it happen, didn't he, Henry Cavill? He like begged for the role because he's like, he loves the series. He probably isn't getting paid that much. It's probably mostly like a passion thing.
Plus, I heard he kind of almost fell out with them in the past as well because they weren't being like as thorough or as like true to the character as he would have liked. So he literally like gave them a pretty big like warning and was like, "You do this, I'm just off the show." So like maybe again they just towed the line. He didn't like the direction the character was going or the story was going, and he just left. Because like you said, he is like he's a massive nerd, isn't he? Old Caville. He's a big old nerd.
Yeah, but there were some reports like just a couple of weeks ago that the show writers for the Witcher show like actively didn't like the source material, like actively thought the books were shit. Which is like,
great.
Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the books are fine. I think the main issue with the books, I've only read a couple, so obviously anyone who has read all the Witcher books can probably correct me. But I think the issue is they were written in Polish by a Polish author, and I think the translation wasn't fantastic. There is some stuff that just doesn't quite work, and like you have to like read it a couple times and just be like, oh, like it's from that perspective, or oh, it means that, that sort of thing. At least that's what I found. So, but I'm sure if you read them in the native, language they were written in, they were actually probably pretty good. But just the English translation just wasn't the best. But yeah,
I like, and that's like, so that probably doesn't help that there probably were some horns clashing with Henry Cavill trying to do X and then the show writers trying to do Y. But also I think didn't we just find out this week that Henry Cavill is returning as Superman, so could very well just be scheduling difficulties and he needs to pick the bigger bag, ultimately.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, with sort of DC actually sort of coming up now in the cinema, they're actually starting to do some okay stuff. Again, I don't think Black Adam was particularly great, the new one with Dwayne the Rock Johnson. But yeah, I don't think that was received particularly well, but he's now sort of canon in the universe, and obviously I think they're planning on making a pretty epic showdown between him and Superman, because they're like evenly matched, they're like both basically gods. So that'd be pretty cool. So yeah, yeah, like you said, maybe it's just that.
Yeah, it's a shame. I probably won't watch the next series of Witcher now. It was fine.
I mean, season 3 still has Henry Cavill in it. And then
that's true. I'll probably watch season 3 then.
It will be Liam Hemsworth.
Yeah, I'll probably watch season 3 then. It's just like Joaquin says in the chat. Joaquin says in the chat, what's strange is that there are other Witchers. Why not make it about someone other than Geralt?
Yeah, exactly.
They just didn't want to lose. They just didn't want to lose the franchise appeal of it being about Geralt, I suppose. But
yeah, Geralt is like, he is the coolest, the most mainstream Witcher. Like, sure, there are others, and Vesemir is in the show and stuff like that. They have used him, but yeah, you could definitely take it in a different direction. But yeah, it'd just be kind of weird with Liam Hemsworth just taking the reins. Just like, oh, hey, Geralt, your entire bone structure has changed, but we still know you as the person you are. Yeah, it's just a little bit weird. That sort of stuff's just gonna lose a lot of service with the fans. Just add that, even if Liam Hemsworth does a good job, which I'm sure he probably will do an okay job. He's a pretty decent actor, but like, I just think just a mid show change like that, it's just never going to go down well, regardless of how well you do it.
Yeah, but that's the thing, because the show was fine to good. It was fine to good.
7,
its good episodes were good. Yeah, and its fine episodes were just fine. But a lot of the appeal was how good of a fit Henry Cavill was for Geralt.
He was.
Do you know what I mean?
I always thought he was a bit too big for Geralt, though. Like a bit, just a bit too much. Because Geralt's a big guy, don't get me wrong, but he's not like Henry Cavill, like big. Like Henry Cavill's
he's more toned.
Yeah.
In the games, though, I've heard it described it in the books. He's written to be a lot bigger, but in the game, he's presented a bit more toned and slim.
Oh, okay. But... Yeah, I mean, I guess
that's what I've heard.
Yeah, I guess the books do write him a little bit, but I don't know. if they actually like full like classify his height and all that sort of stuff in the books. But
No,
yeah, I think
yeah.
he's a pretty tall, big guy. But yeah, I don't know. I always just thought Henry Cavill was a bit too Cavill, sorry, was a bit too
Yeah.
top heavy. But yeah.
Well, that's. I mean, we started the show off with a bit of a Witcher section there, but if you're just joining us now, hello, welcome to the show. This is the first time here. This is the quick result. This is 75th episode, so we're 3/4 of the way to 100. There's big numbers, Tim.
Yeah.
It's a big number. We're getting on.
Scary.
We're getting on. Yeah, it's scary. And if you haven't been here before, my name is Deck, and over there is Tim. Hi, Tim.
I'm Tim. Hello, Deck.
Hello. So there's a lot on the docket today, Tim. There's a lot on the docket, I think. Anyway, there's been a few big things, not loads. We're not overwhelmed. Not like last week. I was busy last week. But there's like a couple of big things. I think there's been numbers around Game Pass like uptake. There's been reports around console sales. There's been a Redfall trailer. There's been Age of Empires and lots more.
Yeah.
So let's do our usual little skedaddle then. Tim, games this week.
Overwatch.
Is it just Overwatch?
It's just been Overwatch. I'm going to cut this segment short. We're still playing it. I'm in Platinum now. Your boy's in Platinum. Both you boys are in Platinum. We've been playing ranked. We actually missed a game that we were talking about and actually wanted to play, which was Gunfire Reborn. We just got sucked up into Overwatch and just forgot that game even released, even though we wanted to play it.
Yeah.
So we'll probably give that a go, I would imagine, this week.
I put a good 3 hours in last night.
Oh, did you?
I was really bored. Yeah, I was really bored and I wanted to play something while I listened to some
I
of
thought
my podcast.
you said you were bored playing it. Oh, you mean you were bored, so you played it. Okay, I see.
No, the game's fantastic.
Oh, okay.
The game's really good.
Oh,
it's
nice.
really good.
Awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I guess we don't really have much to add. I guess there has been more controversy about the Overwatch 2 store, because if you've been playing that, then you'll know that there's it's been a Halloween event.
But Joaquin has just said he's the best Reinhardt this side of Mississippi, which is really weird because you said the exact same thing to me when we were playing the other day. Remember?
Did I? What did I say about?
You said something about you were just like, oh, I'm the best, like whatever this side of Mississippi, and I was like, how much is between us and Mississippi from this side? Do you not remember us saying?
You did. Yeah, you said that. Yeah.
Literally the exact same phrase. Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
that's really good.
Well, what can I say? Me and Joaquin, really, we take up a lot of space in the Overwatch world between here and Mississippi. Yeah. It's a lot of people, It covers both oceans. So yeah. And yeah, so they have this Halloween event, and it's a bit dog, really, isn't it? They've got their event, which is cool. That's probably the saving grace. They've got like their event, they do the Junkenstein thing every year, and every year it's something a little bit different. And the actual like game of it is really quite good and quite fun. It's like really well polished. It's like high production value. It's got like this cool voiceover. It's like a little raid boss with different mechanics on the way through, and there's loads of different challenges you can do to get like all the voice lines, which I did, by the way. There's like, it's like loads of Easter egg stuff. It's actually like fun stuff. Like in the tavern at the beginning, you have to punch the door because there's like a voice behind it. So you have to knock to disturb the stranger. Loads of silly things like that throughout. And then if you do like 13 of the challenges, you get a little pumpkin weapon charm, which is, it's nothing. It's peanuts. There's no skins for free, which is the real big complaint from a lot of the community. So essentially, other than that, the event is just a themed shop for you to buy stuff.
And quite the premium shop, might I add.
Yes.
You're looking at dropping £20 to £30 for new skins, and you're looking to drop probably like 15 for old reuse skins that were in Overwatch 1, and it's just kind of a joke, man. They really need to sort that out. I don't know how they thought that was going to land. I don't know why some of these skins are not just like play Junkenstein for a certain amount of time or complete it on hard and get like this skin, especially if it's like an Overwatch 1 skin. Like, why can't I get that cool Ash skin if I completed Junker Stein or whatever it's called on hard mode? You know, really, you're that
Yeah.
stingy, are you? And
Yeah.
the thing that annoys me the most is the whole fucking Twitch thing. Like, why do I have to watch 6 hours of Twitch to get a Werewolf Winston skin? Can I not just play 6 hours of Overwatch? Do you not want me to play your game? Or would you, or are you just banking on the fact I'm already playing it and I've also got a stream up at 140p in the background of my phone? Like,
yeah, it does. I think that does show how fucked like the entertainment industry is with capitalism. Like it's the disease. Like the fact that like platforms and advertisers think that just because there's a screen on somewhere in the house, that is marketing their game. Like, it's not measuring engagement. You know, it's just like, watch something for 4 hours, and that means then, you know, that people are more likely to buy that product that they see on the advert. It's like,
you should not have someone engaged for 6 hours on your actual product.
Right. Yeah.
Like actually engage. Like, make the challenge like play 20 games, right? Play and finish 20 games, because then you've got that player on from start to complete. They're not AFK. They're not doing anything. They're playing your game. Like, what? I just don't. Surely that's the way you want to do it. But I mean, I'm no marketing genius, but
yeah. Well, it's just the way it works with, like, you know, advertising companies. Well, you know, like massive corporations paying people to put ads in certain places. And we've spoken about this idea before. This idea that like games don't have ads. It's the only form of entertainment that doesn't have ads.
Yeah.
TV shows, you watch an ad, unless you're paying like a premium price, which we're not, you know. Like, how do you get ads in game? You know, maybe that would subsidize the cost of shops. And then they wouldn't be like, oh, go to Twitch and watch our stream for 6 hours.
Yeah.
But obviously the idea of ads in games sounds ridiculous. Like, that sounds completely stupid.
Depends how it's done.
But yeah, right. You know, it depends. Something's got to give on these monetization models. You know, it's got to be somewhere. And we spoke about this the other week. You know, like doubling and tripling up on monetization is fucked. So, like, don't do that. We're okay with one. So yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, because it's weird, because they clearly have value in other areas. The battle pass is great value. Like, I genuinely think it is, and that's even without the improvements that they could add, like putting a bit of premium currency in there and stuff like that. I still think the battle pass is good value. You know, it's crazy to think that technically that Genji skin that we get at the end of the battle pass cost us £9, when this fucking Kiriko skin in the Halloween event is costing us like £26 or something. Like, I know there's like, you have to play the game to get the Genji skin as well, but like, you know, from a like a money standpoint, the Genji skin's £9 and the fucking Kiriko skin's 26. How does that make any sense? Like, what?
Yeah. Small brain players, it is. I guess because I think most people are kind of okay with battle passes. I think most of us are happy that battle passes are like somewhat fair. Like, this is okay. This is good value. Okay, I don't get to pick what I want. But I get to like kind of earn it, you know. And then I guess that's considered like the thing that most people are going to get. And then the shop is like for whales. But the shop contains so much, and that's why, like, for a lot of these games, you get a lot of seasonal criticism. If the battle pass doesn't have a lot of good stuff in it, you get a lot of pushback, and some people just stop playing games. Like, I saw you and one of our friends talking about the new battle pass on Apex, and at the weapon at the end of it, you were like, got no interest in that. Not that I mean, I don't know if you would have gone back to it right now anyway, but it's another reason for you to be like, that's my only form of progression, and I'm not doing that. Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a big part of it is obviously, we're just enjoying Overwatch right now. But no, that is definitely a large element of the fact that I won't dip my toes back into Apex, is because, the end of the battle pass, which takes a long time to get to, and it's fun getting through as well. It's just, like, cringe rifle? Like, seriously? Like, no one uses that gun outside of just being a piece of shit or memeing. So, like, it's just, why? It's not even in the meta. Like, it's nothing. Nobody picks it up. It's just like
Yeah,
I don't get it. It's almost
and I
like
think
they thought. I think their thought behind it was just like, yeah, everyone hates the charge rifle, but this season people are going to be coming back anyway because we've got a new character and we've got a new map. So this is the season to put a shit weapon in the battle pass, and then next season when we have less stuff, like not a new map and maybe not a new character, we'll put like a really popular gun in the battle pass to get people coming back. Maybe that's
yeah,
their
yeah,
reasoning behind it. I think they were just like, we have to do the cringe rifle at some point, so let's do it
yeah. That's
now
right.
while we have a lot of other
Yeah.
content coming. Yeah,
And I think it's quite interesting because, like, I think like some games get more criticism about these battle pass systems than other games do, and Fortnite is one that, for the most part, is held in quite high regard. Like, generally, a lot of people are like, "Oh, like Fortnite's monetization is good."
yeah,
For the most part, and I hadn't really thought about it this way, but I think it was I've heard it in a few places, but I think it was Jeff Grubb over on his podcast at GamesBeat had said that in Fortnite, if you get a skin in the battle pass or you buy a skin, you get a lot of value because you can use that at every game. Whereas something like Apex, something like Overwatch, you get a skin, it's one of 30 characters, it's one of 20 guns. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So you get less like value per minute out of
Mhm.
it, essentially, which I hadn't really thought about. I was like, yes, it's a damn good
Does make
point. Like,
sense.
it's a good rationale for, I think, a lot of these things to be less expensive, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I do. Yeah.
I think, and I think that's where there's a bit of a discrepancy between just copy pasting the battle pass approach across different games as a service, because of things like that. Like, you don't get as much value out of it because I can't use it every game.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween, by the way, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Halloween
still
weekend.
excited for Halloween, even though Overwatch has kind of torched it for me a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose so. With that out of the way, I had a couple of things I wanted to touch on as well. I completed Plague's Tale Requiem. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll have seen a very ugly crying face from me on there.
That was so funny.
That was hard,
Just
emotional.
finished
A couple of
Plague's
hours.
Tale, had a great time. Just you crying.
Yeah. Yeah, that ugly crying at the end. Wow. Like, when I spoke about it last week, I said like it was between an 8 and 8.5, but I suspect that might climb a bit higher because the story was really good in the first. I think, yeah, that probably is true. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but it's somewhere between an 8.5 and a 9. Sorry, 8 and an 8.5. And now I think it's between an 8.5 and a 9. I'm really leaning towards 9 because, wow, the writing in that game, wow, the voice acting, the way it all came together. Just amazing. The ending of that game had my jaw on the floor. I could not believe it. I still can't believe it. I'm still shook. I am shook.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just very, very good. There are some like really clear bits, like problems with the game, though. I do think like because most of the game is like stealth combat. You sneak around, and they've kind of expanded the combat a little bit in the sense that there's more. It's essentially alchemy. You use a lot of alchemy through the game, so you like combine fire with tar and it explodes, or you can throw tar at like lights and it'll make them like blindingly bright, so you can sneak by, or you can combine what's some other stuff. Yeah, you have like essentially dust, which like I can't remember what it's called. To like put out fire, that was in the first game, similar stuff like that. But you can combine it together, so that's expanded a bit. You have a crossbow that you can like tip, your alchemy stuff at the end with them, which is all great. And when that's working and when that's flowing, it works really nicely. But as soon as you're spotted in that game, it really doesn't feel good. Like it really, and I think it accentuates how stupid some of the AI is. It really feels clunky because like if they catch you, they like smack you to the ground and then they just kind of stand there and you stand back up. Yeah, essentially you have 2 hit points. If you get hit twice, you die.
Yeah.
So they like smack you on the head and then they just stand there. And then you turn around and run off, and then they start chasing you again. And then if they catch you again, they like you take an axe to the face and you die. And it's just like every time it happens, I was like,
it just looks
wrong.
weird. Yeah, like it'd look better.
Yeah, like,
it'd look better if they like smacked you down and then it went into like a almost like a quick time event where they like grabbing you on the floor and you have to like mash a button to get them off you and stuff like that, just to make it look less clunky, sort of thing. Yeah, because otherwise it's just like
Yeah.
they're just queuing up, waiting for their next line of code to just activate, attack
No,
again.
it really is. It's really like immersion breaking, like some of it. As soon as you're like the active combat in that game is, and because there are times in the game where like hordes of enemies are coming at you, and you just got to think on your feet. Like, oh, there's a torch there. Oh, there's a flame jar there. Oh, I've got, I can see some crossbows, and that works okay. But it's more that once people get within range of you, you really can't, because you don't have you have like knives that you pick up in the game, but they're like one-time use get out of jail cards essentially. And you can like smack someone with your sling, but you can't kill anyone like that. You just kind of daze them. So there are times where you'll get spotted, someone will come over to you, they'll knock you to the floor, you run in a circle, just like trying to whip rocks at them, and it's like, this just doesn't feel good. And that's probably the biggest criticism I can give the game, is that when you're spotted, the combat gets really messy, but the actual stealth part of it works really nicely. I also did have a bit of a problem with overlapping dialogue. Not much, but just a little bit. But God, I hate that shit. I hate that shit so much.
Yeah.
Because it punishes you for being like curious. Do you know what I mean? Like there's dialogue playing and you're like, oh, what's over here? And you go down the path and then the previous dialogue cuts off and the new one plays. Or they just play at the same time. That happened twice to me. And I like, but it's small stuff. But overall, wow, amazing. The pacing of that game is just absolutely perfect. It was like 20 hours. Didn't waste a single moment of my time. And music was amazing. Yeah, I really loved that. And I said on Twitter as well that I think Amicia, the main protagonist, really is probably my favorite female protagonist ever.
Really?
Like so I'm trying to think of like who I'd put up there. I mean, like I kind of liked Aloy, but I think she's a bit boring. Yeah, I do like Lara Croft for sure, but she just didn't have that extra depth that I think Amicia does. So yeah, really good. Somewhere between 8.5 and 9. Yeah, really good. So recommend it. I said to Tim, I messaged him after I'd completed it. I said I almost feel a bit guilty playing it day one on Game Pass, because it was just such a good like experience with so much value.
Yeah.
But just amazing.
Nice, man.
And then I played Gunfire Reborn. Yeah, like I said, I played probably about 3 hours. I meant to check actually like who made it. Is it a Japanese game? Do you know? I think it is, because there's.
I don't know. It seems like a Devolver game to me, but it's not. But it just seems like one.
No. Yeah. No, I can see where you're coming from.
I'll look now.
Because
developer DOI Network. DOI Network. It's DUOYI.
What does it say on the wiki? Do ye?
What do you mean? What does it say on the wiki?
But Chinese studio Do Ye Games. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Chinese. Okay.
I mean, yeah, you can tell by the name they're Chinese. Yeah.
Yeah, because there was like a couple of bits in the game. It was really not important, but there were bits where there was like a string of Chinese dialogue, which I don't think was meant to be Chinese. And I was like, is this like intentional? Is it like intentionally masking the like to not show me, or is it just like it's just a bug? It's just a bug. But wow, this game really impressed me. Gotta be honest. I was really confused at first. It doesn't hold your hand very much. But once, and unlike some of the, I think some of the naming conventions are a bit weird. Like, I can't like they could. So typically because it's a roguelite. Remember, in a single, it's just clarify to the audience. It's like it's a roguelite. With up to 4-player co-op, you play as little furries you running around. It's pretty cool. But like in roguelikes, typically you have like a pool of skills that you can get in each run. There's like, let's say there's like 50 skills, but in a single run you'll only get like 20. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then your next run you might get a different 20, something. They call those ascensions in this. I was like, ascensions? And the game never really explained ascensions. Ascension to me in my head is a thing you get after you've completed the game and you're climbing Ascension 1, Ascension 2, like Slay the Spire sort of thing. Or I think Hades had a similar thing, didn't it?
Yeah. It's like additional, like on top of
base.
Yeah.
So, but once it starts clicking, it always, or if you've played roguelites before, it will start to make sense. If you haven't, then you might need to just have a quick Google. But this game was running at 204 frames per second.
Whoa, let's go. That's crazy. I've never played above
My TV only
120.
runs at 60. Well, you won't be able to tell.
I mean, yeah,
like, your TV won't be able to run higher than that.
I'll be able to experience it at 120 though, at least.
Yeah, you will. But it was very smooth. I mean, it's very, simplicity over detail. Like it leans into its style really heavily. But it's really smooth. Like the aiming feels great. There's like 7 different characters. You start with one and you unlock. I just unlocked the second as I logged off. You've got your tree of skills that you go into that are for all the characters, and then there's a specific hero tree. You have different abilities. There's loads of weapons that you unlock, like constantly unlocking like new weapons and scrolls that are like injected into the loop for each new run, if you know what I mean. This it feels really good. So I'd recommend it. I don't want to linger on this too long, but it's on Game Pass now. I think it was on because it's fun. We were looking forward to this at the beginning of the month, but obviously we got so wrapped up in Overwatch that we forgot it was coming out.
Yeah. I'm excited.
I think it's probably worth touching on because I can see Joaquin's put it in the chat that the Modern Warfare 2 came out. I don't think did we speak about this last week? I think we did. It's worth just having a couple of words, I think.
I think we spoke. Wait, you mean like on the podcast? Like,
yeah, on the podcast, yeah.
I don't think we spoke about it too much. I mean, obviously it wasn't out at this point. So, and we can lead it into the whole.
I mean, it was early access.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, we can talk about it, and we can lead it into the whole fiasco that's going on there as well, in the actual story we have. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, sounds good. So I mean, I can see that Joaquin said that the campaign is really good. I've seen quite a few people saying the campaign is good. We all know it looks like graphically very, very nice. I'm hearing pretty good things in general. I'm hearing like mixed things about the multiplayer so far in terms of the progression, hit detection, balancing. They're really going for the traditional Modern Warfare 2 experience. Yeah,
I remember Modern Warfare 2 being really balanced back in the day. That's weird. It's not like every gun was a laser and killed you in 2 bullets. I remember it being a completely different experience. No,
it was perfectly balanced, man.
I've immediately come in with hate on this game. Immediately.
But yeah, I don't have much else to add. It's just more that I've seen a lot of people playing it, having a good time. It's obviously going to be the biggest game in the world right now, so it feels stupid to admit it entirely. It looks great graphically.
Yes,
they did a great job with that engine upgrade in 2019 for the first Modern Warfare. And there was that funny clip going around as well that was about you're in like a caravan village or something like that, and it said hold LT to de-escalate. It's like aim at people to de-escalate. And it's like the most military thing in the world.
Yeah, de-escalate the situation by pointing a gun at someone.
Yeah, that's right.
Classic Americans.
That really makes me feel de-escalated.
Oh, definitely, yeah. So de-escalated that I would hand over all my possessions and beg him for my life.
That's right.
That's not
all my earthly possessions.
I don't know what it is.
And I would pray to a god that I don't believe in. Like I'm so de-escalated right now.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's
cool.
Yeah, I've heard pretty good things again. I feel like the last couple campaigns for Call of Duty have hit the nail pretty well. And people tend to enjoy them. I mean, even the games that are like not received very well, like Ghosts and Advanced Warfare and stuff like that. People still kind of praised the campaigns for those games and actually said they were pretty good. And I think this has been the case for the Modern Warfare remaster and the Modern Warfare 2 remaster as well. So yeah, no, that's pretty cool. Wasn't Modern Warfare 2 the one that had the really dodgy airport level where you just gun down like thousands of civilians in an airport?
That's right.
Is that
no Russian?
How have they
I doubt it.
How have they tackled that in this game?
I just don't think it will be in.
Yeah, because I remember they had to patch it, didn't they? Where you like couldn't kill the civilians or something. Like later on,
I don't remember
they ended
actually.
up
Yeah,
patching the level in the original because
yeah,
yeah, everyone just thought it was kind of not okay to just enjoy gunning down hundreds of civilians in an airport, and it would promote violence.
yeah. Hmm.
So yeah, I think they ended up patching it even in the original to just be like you couldn't kill the civilians or something.
Yeah, I don't remember, but obviously, yeah, that was a big
After it,
deal at the time. It's arguably what the game is known for the most.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, that whole controversy. But yeah, no, it's good. I haven't heard too much about Warzone or anything like that because obviously it's shit with a new Warzone. So I haven't heard too much about that. Is that what you meant by multiplayer when you said the multiplayer is being received quite well, or did you mean the multiplayer? Because they're like
Oh,
two
I just
separate
meant
things
the.
now.
Yeah, I just meant
The online multiplayer.
the multiplayer.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Okay.
deathmatch. Yeah.
Um.
Oh,
So
yeah. We
yeah.
keep saying in the chat that no Russian is coming back. Oh no.
What does that mean?
Oh no.
Oh.
Well, supposedly DLC is on the docket for this game, like campaign DLC. I assume that's what he's
Oh,
talking about.
okay. Right.
Um,
But yeah, yeah. So, yeah, Modern Warfare 2 had a great campaign, and it looks great. So, kudos,
cool. Yeah. Good.
kudos.
Good for you, COD fans. So this leads into our next story, really, which is as we all know, Call of Duty is nice and snug with PlayStation and Activision right now for the marketing deals, and that seems to be, if some of the comments surrounding the ABK deal are to be believed, that's going to be ongoing till like 2026 or 2027 sort of time.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big controversies here, which your boy got quoted in a news article for, Essentially Sports hit me
Oh,
up.
let's go.
Didn't they? They hit me up
That's my
and
boy. Hit
quoted
us.
me.
Oh, no, you. No,
Yeah,
it's
hit
you.
us up.
No, it was you. It's your turn.
Because what has essentially happened is that there are exclusive benefits for PlayStation players. No surprise, right? But yeah, big deal. Whatever. Battle Pass bundle bonus. Yeah, okay, no problem. Combat packs. Free in-game bundles each season. With cosmetics. Fine, whatever. Okay. Extra loadouts. Okay, bullshit. But we've been here before. Double XP points, events every week. PlayStation Party bonus. When you're grouping up with friends, you get plus 25% more XP than everyone else does. Oh. Oh no. They've gone too far. And so what the tweet that I'm talking about, my tweet, I essentially said that this is kind of like, this feels a bit pay to winny, but like I call it platform to win, right? Because surely if you're having quicker access to more operators and weapons and perks, that gives you a competitive edge, and you get that competitive edge by playing on PlayStation. That deeply concerns me. I feel like there is a line, and maybe we're approaching it.
Yeah.
At max
No,
speed.
I think that's pretty. Yeah, that's I think that's about as pay to win as you can get without literally just being like PlayStation players just have all the guns when they log on. Like it's essentially like you said, they just fast track a specific platform over another one. And I don't think yeah, I think that's pretty shit. And I also don't know how like prestiging works in Call of Duties anymore, but I know that in previous Call of Duties, if you were to like prestige, you can like permanently carry through a gun and stuff like that, so you can use it like earlier levels and stuff like that. So if these people are prestiging earlier, they can choose to keep these things for their later levels and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I feel like all that's just a bit of an unnatural advantage over other platforms.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, this hasn't been, to my knowledge, this hasn't been a problem, or at least as much of a problem in previous CODs, because this is a combination of these XP bonus perks, but also crossplay. I know some previous CODs have been crossplay. but now that we've dragged Sony over that line, kicking and screaming, these things together, I think that's genuinely problematic. I think that's genuinely problematic, giving a one platform additional XP. In the same way that I remember a lot of the Destiny community kicked up a fuss when Bungie started selling XP boosts.
Yeah.
Same reason. Like, okay, you're not technically buying a power difference, but you are buying the ability to level up quicker and get access to more stuff quicker. And so it's kind of like pseudo pay to win. I just think it's a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah. Oh mate, I tell you what, next Call of Duty, PlayStation are gonna have exclusive discounts in the store for skins.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I shit you not. Like, we're heading in that direction. Like
yeah, why not? Why stop there?
Yeah. PlayStation get 10% off all store purchases.
Yeah, they get a free nuke with every every purchase in the store.
Yeah.
Bang,
real
game
nuke.
over.
Disclaimer, not real nuke.
Yeah, not real nuke. Yeah, not real nuke.
Yeah.
Don't sue me. Having said that, Elon's now the wizard of Twitter, so everyone can say anything again.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Like, I don't. Yeah, that's a really beneficial change to the human race. The N-word usage went up by 500% as soon as it happened. Uncensorship. Yeah. Yay!
We need it. We clearly need it.
Brilliant. That's awesome.
I've been really wanting to cut loose recently, so it's fantastic.
I've been saving up so many N-words to drop. It's
ridiculous.
I don't even know where to start with that, but whatever. That's a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
All right. The next thing I wanted to touch on, while we're talking of censorship, Tim, Callisto Protocol has been banned in Japan.
Yeah, I saw this. Yeah. Which I kind of respect them for doing, in all honesty.
As in,
I respect the devs for just being like, we don't want to change our game from the vision that we're
not going to compromise it.
Yeah, this is the vision we wanted our game to be. It's fucking disgusting. We're not going to change it for your
deal
audience.
with it.
So we'll miss out on sales as a result of it. They weren't willing to gut or like neuter their game to just get it in another country, which I feel like a little bit of respect needs to be given there. They're clearly quite passionate about what they built and they don't want to change it. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure they would have liked to, but it might just be the case that they've given them like an unrealistic amount of feedback, like, you need to get rid of all beheadings or like limb amputations in this game. Just like everything's a beheading or a limb amputation.
Yeah.
So it's just not possible or feasible to do that.
Maybe, yeah.
So yeah, but loads of things get banned in Japan. So I mean, I can't say I'm surprised.
Yeah, and this game does look pretty disgusting. Pretty great as well. I'm pretty excited for this.
Yeah, it does look very good.
Being a Dead Space 1 fan, so quite excited for this. This year, isn't it? Still, it's not 2023.
This year.
Yeah, it's December. A nice Christmas game to sit down and play with the family.
Yeah, exactly. A nice family game. The kiddo can unwrap that. My kiddo, my 1-month-old kid, can you got Callisto Protocol.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Good. Okay, next, last honorable mention, really, it's a nice one to lead into the main stories for the week, is that Somerville got a surprise out of fucking nowhere release date, and you wouldn't believe it. It's for next month. It's for November 15th.
Damn,
Somerville's been, I would say, quite highly anticipated from a lot of Xbox fans at the very least, a lot of indie fans. As we know, it's one of the Splinter Studios that came away from the team behind Limbo and Inside Playdead. Is it Playdead? I think it's Playdead. And it's got this cool kind of vibe to it. It's like a family in a like an indie narrative game in like, it looks like an alien invasion. We don't know much about it. It's quite mysterious. But Inside was fucking fantastic. Like, Inside was incredible. Mm-hmm. So I'm expecting big things from Somerville. I'm expecting high 80s at the very least.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it looks cool, man. I have to admit, I did have to Google this to remember what it was. But then after watching like a couple trailers on it and stuff like that, I did get flashbacks to when I first saw this. And yeah, it looks very cool. It looks very artistic and very nice. And I think Inside was like that as well. Quite unique in its art style and stuff like that.
And
Um,
Limbo.
yeah, and Limbo. Yeah. Um, Limbo was that horrible one with the spider. I hated that thing.
Yeah, it's like monochromatic. It's like black and
And
white.
then you
Yeah,
could see the legs all the time. Um,
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
yeah, so they're quite an artistic developer. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to see
yeah.
what this will bring. And I have played their previous games, so I think I'll probably give this one a
Mhm.
go as well. So yeah.
Yeah,
Is this
yeah.
dropping into?
So
Is this like a Games Pass thing, or would this just be like a £15 sort of indie game? Like I'm not
yes,
really
it's
too
Game
sure.
Pass.
It is Games
It's
Pass.
Game Pass. Yeah, I'm almost certain it's Game Pass. Yeah, it's one of those ones that got announced like years ago.
Yeah, 5 years,
And
I
then we
think,
haven't really heard anything about it since.
because I've literally just googled it, and
So
it's 5 years. I think it's just like 5 years later we get surprise thing from Somerville.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm just double checking the whole Games Pass thing. Somerville gets Games Pass. Yeah, it's Games Pass.
yeah, cool. So yeah, and this is great because actually, there's no God of War. There's no God of War competition coming to Xbox in the back half of 22. But we've already said there's been it, in terms of the exclusive lineup, that's been whatever pretty bad. But the Game Pass lineup has been pretty good. We've had
Yeah.
Plague Tale, we've had Gunfire Reborn, As Dusk Falls was a couple of months back.
Got Pentiment on the way.
There was something else. Pentiment's on the way. We've got Somerville. We've got Scorn just came out as well. What's the bloody High on Life December? That's
Oh yeah,
happening.
yeah. Would have been Dark Tide.
The previews for that have been looking good.
Not.
Yeah, Dark Tide will be for Game Pass PC, but
Yeah.
probably slipping into early 23 for console. And then so actually, the back half of this year is looking okay. If you're already a subscriber to Game Pass, I think it's giving you some pretty good value for now. Although, I can't blame anybody for looking across the aisle and seeing God of War and thinking, "Where's mine?"
Yeah, definitely.
Where's my one?
Yeah, it's still lacking from like a AAA, like
Just AAA.
yeah, but it's still providing some pretty nice value over the year. It's definitely not dry. I wouldn't go as far as saying it's dry. So yeah,
right. Cool. Okay. Well, that's all our honourable mentions. So we're going into our main stories for the week, and I'm trying to figure out where to start. We'll just go from the top. There has been a series of videos for the last 2 or 3 weeks surrounding Fallout's 25th anniversary. We spoke about this a bit in previous weeks, but they're still uploading videos every couple of days, just short clips about like different parts of the franchise, like the history of that, or like where it's going to be, or the setting, stuff like that. And in one of the recent articles, they said Fallout 4 is going next gen. Yeah. Prepare for the future. A next gen update is coming to Fallout 4, coming in 2023. This free update will be available for Xbox Series X and S. And another console.
another console.
PlayStation 5,
Switch.
of course.
Oh.
Yeah. The reason I'm acting like a fucking lunatic is because, of course, the CMA believes that Xbox are employing some sort of satanic exclusive strategy where they make everything exclusive that they own ever, when that just isn't true. Here's another next gen update for free, versus PlayStation's model of that'll be 10 more quid, please. Also, if you want to buy this next gen game, that'll be 70 quid, please. Double up on the payment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's ridiculous that that PlayStation charge for their like 4K upgrades.
It is.
For the games. Like, I think it's insane. I actually don't think I could Like, being in a world where like an old game gets updated that I want to play again, and I have to pay money for that. If PlayStation was my only platform, I'd be seriously bummed out. Like that sucks.
Yeah.
Like, how is that a thing? Like, how is that allowed? Especially when their main competitor is just doing it for free and doing it much more as well. Like I feel
Yeah.
like we've upgraded more games for free as well. Yeah, man, it's kind of toxic. But maybe if this deal wasn't happening right now, maybe this whole upgrade thing would have been exclusive to Xbox, but they're just doing it in like in goodwill, just to be like, let's give it to them, you know, while this whole deal was going on. But like, if it wasn't, maybe the 4K next gen upgrade would have been for Xbox platform only.
Well, that's what I thought. Yeah, I'm in two minds about it. Like, for sure, this is a good time to strike while the iron's hot and be like, oh, look at us,
We're the
benevolent
good guys.
Microsoft, you know. Yeah, offering updates for even our competitors. Look how nice. Yeah, but at the same time, like, Xbox doesn't have a history of doing these updates and excluding other platforms. The only thing that's kind of comparable is the frame rate boost stuff, but that's because that's their own technology, and obviously PlayStation doesn't have that technology.
Yeah.
And even then, it's been really sparsely used. I wish they would do another batch of that, because I love that.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool. Yeah.
Like, I guess a lot of companies have just decided remakes, and like, it's the season of remakes and reboots, and we're gonna make more money off a cheap, easy, you know, remake.
Yeah.
Like, Dishonored 2, when? For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Like, they still haven't. I would love to go and play that game again, but like, they still haven't done the frame rate boost for it. I bloody hope so. Yeah, okay, so that's cool. Good stuff. Fallout needs some love. I'm glad there's something gameplay coming. And I've been thinking it would be really cool if they cap all of this 25th, because this 25th anniversary stuff is still going.
Yeah.
If they finally got to the end of this and they made an announcement, that would be rad for something new. But it's wishful thinking. So for now, this might just have to do.
Is there like an end date in mind when these announcements are going to stop for anniversary?
I have no idea.
No, there's no. Yeah, it's cool, man. I might go back and play Fallout 4. I like Fallout 4. I was one of those people that actually didn't mind it. I thought all the settlement stuff was really annoying.
It was good.
And they try to cram it down your throat.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I genuinely quite enjoyed it. You could have held on now in hindsight and actually played it at better quality. But that was a long time.
That was one of the few games that did. Yeah, that was one of the few games that did get frame rate boost.
Yeah, but it's not 4K
so
textures.
I wasn't mad. Yeah, and I did say, because I think it's actually like when we started the podcast is when I was playing it. It was around the same time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I think I said, like, it does look a bit dated, and it's only a 2016 game. Like, I don't know, like, I know that's 6 years old, but it's not.
It's not really old.
Like, yeah, like, it does still look a bit dated. But it played well, so yeah, I enjoyed my time with Fallout 4. It was good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next bit. So really, we've got off lucky. This is the only real bit of news that if we really wanted to, we could stretch to the ABK deal. That's it, Tim. We can take a breath, a breather. Isn't that great?
It's fucking fantastic.
We don't have to bash our heads in with a hammer at the end of the podcast.
That's true. There's only enough. There's only so much blunt trauma I can take.
Yeah. And so the relevance here, right, is from an organization called the ITIF, the Information Technology and Innovation Foundation. And I'm going to read you exactly what it says on their website of what that means and what they are. Founded in 2006, ITIF is an independent, non-profit, non-partisan research and educational institute, a think tank. Its supporters include corporations, charitable foundations, and individual contributors, and it has earned a 2022 Platinum Seal of Transparency with Candid. I wish I had a Platinum Seal of Transparency with Candid.
I mean, doesn't everyone? I feel like that's kind of just gone.
What does it mean?
With
I probably should have looked, but
who's Candid?
Yeah, with Candid. Yeah, who's Candid? Can I have Candid as well? This is awesome. Okay, so the point being that ITIF essentially overlook a lot of like regulatory deals across the world, and they give their input. They've got panels of experts on this stuff to give like kind of opinion pieces and kind of consult as well. And they did a whole article on the CMA, on the ABK deal. But I've just taken the summary line essentially at the end, but it encapsulates the spirit of the article pretty well. So to quote, the CMA has erred in its analysis of Microsoft's incentives to foreclose Sony post-merger. Microsoft's past acquisition conduct demonstrates that Call of Duty is likely to remain available on PlayStation and other devices. The CMA can and should change course during its Phase 2 investigation and clear this competitively benign acquisition. They've essentially said, what you up to? What the benign is a great word.
I feel like I'm going to use that more in my just daily vocab.
Yeah. Just useless. Yeah. Every time someone doesn't perform in my Overwatch game, I'm just be like, you're a fucking benign Hanzo.
Yeah, that widow.
You're a benign Genji.
That widow is so benign, dude. That's unreal. It seems so smart to our friends.
It's such a good word. Yeah. So yeah, the ITIF has essentially said, CMA, stop pissing about.
Yeah,
this is fine. This is fine. There's no real competitive concerns here. And like I said, this is just the end of the article. Throughout the whole article, this is the thing. This is like the tone. They've been like, the CMA have said this in Phase 1, and then they said this, but history shows this and that and this and that, and this is why these concerns aren't bothersome.
Yeah.
So I would be surprised if we don't see this come back up in Phase 2, like from ITIF. Like we don't see Microsoft try and use this to their advantage. But it's interesting to see other organizations also be like, for the same reasons that we have said on the podcast, right?
Yeah. It's nice that they're seeing these patterns, that Microsoft have had in the past of being quite generous with how they do this sort of stuff. They're not so cutthroat. You could literally just look at Minecraft as a perfect example of this. And just use that as a trend of past behavior, and not to mention just what Microsoft have just outright gone and stated about what their plans would be with Call of Duty as well. They've put that to paper. So
yeah. And like this is because one of the stories is a bit later about a long interview that Phil did around not just the deal but everything, and obviously the deal was mentioned, and as is on the title of the video and the podcast, he says, to quote, "Our intent is to treat Call of Duty like Minecraft, and that should not be a surprise to anybody."
No,
like that's so obvious, and like that's why I think a lot of people maybe have knee-jerked a bit too hard to the criticism that the CMA is trying to put through. But like we have said, like even when I funneled through all of the documents and stuff, the CMA paid hardly any attention to Minecraft. They even listed, I said this to you, they listed unannounced games. So like Project Midnight by Compulsion, that's going to be exclusive. It's not real. The game is fake. That is not even a real game. It's a code name. You can't use that. And then Minecraft is a little footnote at the bottom, like, oh, Minecraft, which has been kept multi-platform. Like Minecraft, one of the biggest IPs on the fucking planet that they've kept multi-platform, and then made subsequent follow-ups with Dungeons and now Legends that are also going to be multi. Like it's more than just a footnote. Like that's a big deal. So clearly it's not going unnoticed by just amateur podcasters like us, but also actual think tanks are noticing it. Yeah.
And we did predict that this sort of stuff would start to come up in the Phase 2, didn't we? Like deep dives and stuff like that. It's almost like Phase 1. It's just like people just jabbing like knives into each other, like trying to just like provoking, like poking the bear. And then phase
go on, hit me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then Phase 2 will be a bit more analytical. At least you'd hope. So I'm glad it's heading in that direction. So yeah, good stuff.
Mostly, but as I say, mostly because we all just want this to be over and done.
Yes, we do. Fucking hell, just give me Blizzard. Keep Activision.
Yeah, that's right. And then maybe they can lower their prices on their fucking Overwatch store.
Yeah.
So I'm just plugging in my laptop. I just realised it's not plugged in.
That's fine. Yeah, it just cuts out. Yeah. Nice.
Well, I was unplugging. There was like 4 plugs in the back. I'm like, oh god, I hope this isn't something important.
Oh god.
All right.
No, I can still hear you and see you, so you're fine.
That's great. Okay,
All
cool.
good.
Oh, alrighty. I saw you had a drink today. Is that tea or is that a coffee?
It's a tea. You really don't
Usually
like
you
the
don't.
fact that I don't have a coffee before the podcast, do you?
No, I don't not like it. I just
Every week.
I'm surprised that you
bring it
have.
So I don't know. So no, it's a bit
What
of
can
a
I say?
trend
You're
here.
you're just a stronger man than I am, I guess. You know, you just. I don't know
Or
what
I
else to
just
say.
exert far less energy than you. Like my day is so far consisted of waking up, watching a bit of TV, and then doing this. Well, you've woke up, you got like a 9-month pregnant wife, you've had like a house viewing, like all this sort of stuff. So like, I think your days are just a bit more in need of caffeine injection than mine.
I was in the hospital for like 2 hours like last night as well because
exactly.
he wasn't kicking as much, but everything's fine with baby. But
oh, thank God.
Fucking stress, mate.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you just need the caffeine, bro. Your life's just more stressful than mine. You know, that's what it is.
It's healthy stress.
Yeah.
That's what I say to myself when I'm curled up in the bath with my head in my hands.
Yeah, with your hair falling out in your hands.
My hair falling out.
You
It's
crying.
healthy stress. It's all healthy stuff. Another coffee, please. All right.
In a bathtub of coffee. It's not water.
Like on a straw. Okay. Speaking, no, I can't tie it in. Age of Empires happened, right?
Yeah.
Age of Empires happened. I've been moaning about this for a year now, at least. And it's coming to console. We've got Age of Empires Definitive Edition 2 coming in January 31st, 2023, I think they said. And then we've got Age of Empires 4, which is the newest installment, coming some point in 23. We don't have a date yet.
Nice.
Real shame they couldn't make this year. Would have really helped, but is what it is.
It's nice to have confirmation, regardless that it's coming. I mean, we all predicted and could definitely see it. It was going to happen, but it's just nice that it's on paper. Yeah, they literally just said 2023, didn't they? They didn't even say like early, or they didn't even give like a season or anything. You'd like to hope it's early 23 for Age of Empires 4.
Yeah, for Age 4, that's right.
Yeah, you'd like to hope it's
you'd like
23, but yeah.
And I think one of the more important takeaways here is that now we have a trend, because before we had Flight Sim and we had Gears Tactics as the first Xbox games to release on PC, and then later they came to console. And I've always said I think there needs to be more parity with like how they're going to do that, and I'm going to continue saying that. But it's now that we have Age coming as well. We have that's 3. I can count. You might be surprised to know I can count, and that means. To me, that means that every game that does come to PC is going to make its way to console eventually. Because I think a lot of us wanted to believe that Age eventually would come to console, but a lot of people are also like, it's too hard unless they support mouse and keyboard, in which case, how many people really have a setup in their lounge to support a mouse and keyboard? Do you know what I mean? So there was a wiggle room, there was doubt, but now it's like, if they can make Age work, they can make anything work, which I think is comforting. Anything that comes to PC first now is definitely going to come to console at some point in the future.
Yeah, which is nice. Yeah. And yeah, maybe at some point there won't even need to be a Games Pass PC and a Games Pass console. Maybe it could just be Games Pass. That's the future we're all hoping for. Yeah, definitely. It is good news. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the second part of this story is that Age of Mythology got announced. Age of Mythology Retold, and that's been a really popular one. I think these are the ones that I like remember. I think playing when I was younger, where you like advance through civilizations. Yeah,
Well,
more and more technologically advanced.
what was it called? Sorry, I didn't.
Age of Mythology rather than
Oh,
Age of Empires.
okay. Yeah. Don't call it.
And so essentially, they're bringing the definitive edition treatment to Age of Mythology and calling it Age of Mythology Retold. And they say on their website the game will feature beautiful graphics, updated gameplay, and more. Stay tuned. So no release date, nothing yet. Maybe 23 still. Maybe it's a 24 job. But that's great. It's Age. These Age games have a good opportunity to cement themselves as like a pillar of Xbox IP now that they've actually rebooted it and got it going again.
Yeah, definitely.
It's obviously niche, but it's like, where's the competition for Age?
Yeah, there's not much strategy out there. At least hardcore strategy. You have your pseudo ones like XCOM and stuff like that, which kind of combine the action with strategy and stuff, but nothing like top down, actual just pure strategy games. So yeah.
I think StarCraft is one of the few, right? I can see
yeah, and I guess you could like argue Halo Wars, maybe if they do a Halo Wars 3, you can kind of argue that's like full on strategy Age sort of style. It's a bit more simplistic, but it's definitely there, and I think they'll probably do a Halo Wars 3. 1 and 2 did very well, I think.
Yeah,
they sold really well, and it's a great Games Pass game.
And think about all of those franchises we've just mentioned, all Xbox. Assuming the acquisition goes through, StarCraft is Blizzard, all Xbox.
Yeah.
So, and I think they're acutely aware that, and this is like with cloud, they've been with doing the touch controls. I think they've become, or maybe they've always been aware, but it definitely seems to me that they've become aware that there are types of games that work really well for cloud, and I think they know that strategy games are one of them. So having a strong strategy game, like content base, is great for them to just pump onto all of their services. Easy peasy. Age, like Age is great. Like with touch, like I imagine that's what they're going to do. Joaquin said the same thing in the chat as well. Age of Mythology, StarCraft, I imagine they want to do. Halo Wars would work great as well. I don't actually know if that's already on there, but yeah,
could be. Yeah, I'm not actually too sure. But yeah, those sort of things do. You could argue that sort of stuff would work better with touch than actually using a controller. Just like point and
exactly.
select and like go, and it kind of just works better than doing it.
Shake your phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Smack it on the desk.
Yeah, I mean,
dunk it in the bath.
I do those things with my phone normally. Like, I can do that while playing a game. It's fantastic.
I like taking risks. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So, and do you know what? Like, just a really random thought.
Oh God.
No, it's not. It's not like fish skin. It's not like bagels. Don't worry. But it is Diablo 4. I forgot that game's coming out.
Yeah.
Every now and again, I remember that the game's coming out. I'm like, holy shit, that game looked absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, it looks
that game's
ridiculous.
That game is going to dominate. I would say it dominate next year, but next year is the busiest year that ever will happen.
I still think it.
Past, present, future.
Yeah, it's true. I still think it will be one of the most dominant games of the year, though. Like, that shit looks so good, dude. That's gonna suck the life out of me until I'm a withered corpse. It looks so good. Like,
yeah, you're gonna be like an empty fruit packet when I'm done with it. Like,
I love it. I love you just stick to the bit. I'm doing like a horrific face. You just do another sucking noise. It's true. Love a fruit.
And like, my worry is like, I'm going to be the games that come out next year. My backlog is going to become a decade long.
Yeah, but I really don't think that you're like. I think it's these days it's a bit of a where, you know. I don't think children really need a father figure growing up, so I think you can just
Yeah.
play games all the time. I think it's just a bunch of
Do you know
boomers,
what?
man.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, I
fine.
need feeding.
Yeah.
Talk to your mum. You know, I can't help you with that.
I can't help you unless you want a fillet steak with creme fraiche peppercorn sauce. But no, you just want milk.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I can only help with gourmet food. You want chicken chorizo pasta with a bit of creme fraiche and pepper? What's that? You want some balsamic vinegar and rocket on the side? I'm your guy. You want breast milk? Sorry,
Not your guy.
not your guy.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you could jazz up the breast milk a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. I'm like whipping it with the whisk.
You're like seasoning it, yeah, and everything. Like froth it up in your coffee machine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, steaming it.
Yeah.
Ah, breast milk latte art. Okay, that's enough. Next one. How far can I take this bit? Okay, Redfall trailer. We've got a Redfall trailer. Again, out of nowhere. Watch trailer, Tim? Thoughts? It's
did.
called Into the Night.
Oh. I thought you were going somewhere with that. It was really weird. You were like, you watched the trailer? Thoughts? It's called Into the Night. And I thought you were going to carry on.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's called Into the Night. Redfall Into the Night.
Yeah. I thought it looked really cool, man. Yeah, I was really digging with the vibe of this game. Again, their trailers, they really try and sort of convey a spookiness to their game, which I quite like, because I think it started off looking kind of goofy, didn't it? Redfall, and the last couple trailers have had a bit more of like a serious note to them. More so than how they first started. Again, I don't know if it's Arcane just not knowing how they want to present their game, because as great as developers they are, fuck me, they can't market for shit. So it could just be a mistake on their end. But yeah, man, it looked cool. You got to see like loads of cool gameplay. It was all in engine, which was nice. It wasn't bullshit CGI. And you got to see loads of like enemy types and like how you would like what areas would look like and how you'd approach them and stuff like that. Like I saw like some of the segments were like some of the enemies were like vision based enemies, you know, like you had to like stay out of like their line of sight, so you could maybe like take like a sneak route to get into like the nest.
That's what it looked like.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
So
it was quite cool. And yeah, I'm digging it, man. I really like the
and I'm wondering,
still no loot stuff. We didn't see much in terms of loot. They're keeping that very close to their chest. So that's interesting.
Yeah, the only bit we saw was in the showcase trailer, wasn't it? There's like a little bit of menu stuff. Do we have the scene? Like, can we use OBS yet? Just we would have to do it right now. I'm just like, could we play a video if we wanted to, or are the sizes still?
Let me have a look.
Wrong?
Let me have a look. I mean, you look a bit goofy there. But let me see if I can just play around with it a little bit. Just talk. I mean, this looks weird.
Yeah.
But, let's just see what happens. Where's my face cam?
All right. Well, I guess okay. Well, while you're having a fiddle, then, yeah, no, I think you're right. Like, we definitely one of the things I think the original reveal trailer for Redfall was a bit mixed, because it leaned a lot into kind of levity and comedic relief, which is fine, but it's just something that I think gamers are kind of a bit fatigued with. Doesn't faze me that much, and I guess seeing a lot of Arcane's previous stuff that isn't Deathloop, you know, they do a lot of like kind of dark, sinister games, you know, with those dark atmospheric games. Deathloop, like I said, Deathloop is an exception because it doesn't take itself too seriously. But yeah, like Tim said, every subsequent trailer they've shown so far has been more and more sinister, with like just like a sprinkle of levity rather than the other way around. And this is probably, I reckon this is their best trailer. Yeah, like that shot at the beginning. Like if you haven't seen it, by all means do. where he's like got his light that's like flashing on and off, and the vampire like floats out the doorway. It looked great. Like the animations just look great. It just looked really good.
Yeah, it did.
I love how they look like the models here. I've got some pictures on our notes, so but again, I'd recommend you go and watch it. Some of the models with how they look, with like some of them are like blasting light out of their eyes, and like Tim said, I'd speculate that these are like spotter vampires. That you've got to, instead of just like spotlights, they're vampires with big old beams of light coming out their eyes.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I like it. And then there are some like special zombies, with like the big red hair. We saw some of them in the other trailer as well, and like the particle effects on like some of their deaths and stuff look really nice. I think it looks quite nice as well. Don't get me wrong, it's not going for hyper detailed like other games, but I think I like its style. I like kind of how it looks. There's a lot of emphasis on lighting here, and I quite like that.
Ditto. Yeah. All right, I fixed it. We have the scene. So.
Oh really?
Yeah. We could like play it on mute while we talk.
Let's do it, man. I'd like to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, these are screenshots that we were looking at right now. So this is what I meant by the vision kind of vampires for all your video watchers right there. You can definitely sort of see this as like they definitely look like your sort of classic, like I don't know what you would call them, like survey like vampires or like alert vampires or whatever. I don't know if they would just work like a normal enemy once they spot you, like they jump down and attack you, or whether or not they work as like a siren or something like that. But yeah, man, it just looks I'm totally digging the lighting in this game for sure. Like the whole like nighttime thing, and like you saw the bit like at like the carnival with like all the lights and the Ferris wheel and all that sort of stuff, and it just like I'm totally digging like the whole like nighttime like aesthetic of the whole thing. I think it'll look really pretty.
Like I was saying before, we both, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're both big fans of like particle effects and like some of the effects on the killing those vampires with the stakes in particular that like burn outwards and the particles project off them. Just looks very good. I think it's probably Arcane's best looking game yet, which I know is like not a surprise to say because it's their newest game. But because I don't know, I don't think Arcane has ever been particularly great with lighting. Not that it's ever been bad, but none of their games have really been like real lookers. But I like the direction here in terms of the lighting and how it's used because it's always nighttime. Yeah, I'm just excited to learn more because like clearly there's more going on in this game, with the enemy variety, with the weapon variety, the loot that we've barely seen. We have some rough information about skills and skill trees. There was a bit of a PR below in the last interview, a very little bit, when they mentioned about the co-op progress.
Yes.
Because what was it? I can't remember what they said.
It was like the host world or something, wasn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, only the host world. So like, yeah, only the host world. That's right. And yeah, we said like we hope it doesn't impact achievement, and like that's okay. And was there something about tethering as well, or have I made that up?
I'm not sure about tethering. I don't remember seeing anything about tethering, but could be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
one thing I behind you on the video, but
yeah, one thing I did notice was I did feel like it gave off some like E3 trailer vibes, right? Where they're just like walking slowly through a house and be like, "Oh, there's a pool of blood here," stuff like that. I don't think that's gonna nearly be the sort of vibe that I think the game will be giving off. Like, I think the trailer makes it seem more serious than it is. But I did notice, I thought the colors looked a little bit like washed out when you saw like the forest part. I'm just trying to find it. I thought like the forest and like the shrubbery and stuff actually looked kind of a little bit meh. Like her like walking through the grass like here, like on like the video. It did look a little bit like all these rocks and the foliage and just the whole color palette here looks a bit, I don't know, it looks kind of dated to me. It doesn't look its best there, which is weird because I praised it for how it looks in so many other areas, but just specifically this shot of her like walking through the woods just looked a little bit meh to me. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
I've just caught up with you now, so yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I'd agree. I don't have a problem with any of the. And again, like, sorry, audio listeners, we're kind of going through it on the stream here. But if you've seen the trailer, hopefully you know what we're talking about. But it might just be the case that in game it's actually darker, so they just had to crank up the gamma so that we can actually see.
yeah,
Because we know that there seems to be a flashlight mechanic, like you go into rooms that are like pitch black, like it shows that, which I hope there's a lot of, right? That's awesome. So they might have just cranked up so we could see what was going on. And yeah, I don't think the rest of the scene looked like, I didn't have a problem with how the trees or the foliage looked, but it's never been like a super strength of Arcane's. I don't think they make a lot of detailed and dense worlds, but it's never hyper realistic. Like they give themselves that leeway.
yeah, definitely.
Which I hope doesn't work against them. I hope it doesn't, because this might be Xbox's first party exclusive next gen game.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What we had, Flight Sim. That's not first party. That's a Sobo.
Yeah.
The Medium. Yeah, that's it. And if it is, I think people are going to be looking at it expecting a graphical showcase, which it obviously isn't. Like we can all see now, it isn't. And I would hate for that to impact people's perceptions of the game. Yeah, that's right.
But like, no doubt it will. Let's be honest. Like, reviewers will mention that, won't they? They are going to mention the fact that this is like, it's the first one under the Bethesda umbrella, AAA from Microsoft, next gen only, and it's not pushing the boundaries with its graphics and stuff like that. We know Arcade never does that anyway. They're very stylistic with their graphics and world building and stuff like that. So we're going in not expecting, I mean, it will still look pretty and the particle effects look fantastic and lighting and stuff. But yeah, anyone that's looking for a graphical showcase, I feel like hopefully they've had their, opinions of that grounded going into it with all these trailers that they've seen. So it's not quite a shitstorm when it happens. Not that it's going to be a shitstorm, but you kind of know what I mean.
Yeah, I guess that is like, it's like a really minor concern I have about the game is this really a game that's being leveraged for next gen, or is it just being used as a talking point?
It depends
because
on the
it
size
suits
of the world.
Microsoft.
It depends on the
but that's what I
size
mean.
and the density of the world, and how much is in there, but yeah, it's not screaming next gen vibes to me, like definitely not. I don't watch this and I'm like, this has to be Series X only. Like there's no way this shit's running on
exactly
something as vast and as pretty as Valhalla. Assassin's Creed Valhalla can run on previous gen consoles. Like it's a very big game. So
yeah, with a lot of detail.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess that's my concern. Like, is this kind of a political move, like coming from the top from Microsoft, where they've just said, just make this for Series S and X, or have Arcane said, well, there is actually some stuff we're doing in here which is going to be quite taxing. And like, I don't expect Arcane to ever make a game that's going to push a system to its fullest. It's just not what they do. They go with fun systems and then go from there. At least that's my reading of it. But I get the feeling this game has a lot more up its sleeve. In terms of maybe there's a lot of hopping. Like they've spoken about going into these pocket dimensions.
Yeah,
where like zombies are doing like the blood trance kind of thing, and like maybe it kind of has a similar Ratchet and Clank kind of thing, where you like go into a whole new level, a whole new world essentially that just loads in like that. Maybe Redfall utilizes the SSDs like that. So yeah,
potentially. But regardless, this trailer got me excited. I think it looks good. And I'm just excited to see a little bit more on the characters themselves, the skill trees, the loot, and that sort of thing. Like I'm starting to get a feel for the world a little bit, how it look, enemy types, that sort of thing. That's great.
That's right.
I'd like to see, like a full mission playthrough would be nice, and just some looks on some skills and guns and stuff like that. Because no doubt that's going to be a really big drawing point for a lot of people, and us included. So
Yeah. Well, I think like definitely kind of instilled me with a bit of confidence in that regard. Like I think like it wasn't exhaustive, but it didn't need to be for Deathloop. But if that's the groundwork they've laid for their first game with a loot system, I think they'll be fine here. Especially given how creative the studio is. You think about some of the guns in Deathloop. Like, one of them was like an air pressure needle gun, right?
yeah,
And they've said here that there's like stake launchers where you like have to scavenge the ammo. Like you like will find a broken broomstick handle and you jam that in, or you find like a pool cue and you jam that in, stuff like environmental ammo. Like I don't have a doubt that at the very least we're going to get a lot of creative weaponry. But it remains to be seen. It's not as a games as a service, so it's not going to be, it's not going to be Borderlands or Destiny. But I think it's made me more confident. Definitely has.
yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, that's Redfall for now. Hopefully we do get some more. Clearly, I think they wanted to just drop kind of a trailer as we're coming into Halloween. Maybe they're picking up the marketing cycle again. It's a shame they couldn't have this game out for Halloween because it would have been perfect. But it's better that it gets the time it needs. But yeah, till next time.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so really in the last few bits of news, we have a lot of numbers and information regarding Xbox sales, because there was at the Microsoft earning call this week. And then there was also, as I said earlier, Phil Spencer had a sort of half an hour, I think it was about half an hour long interview with the Wall Street Journal about Xbox in general. So let's start at the top. At the Microsoft earnings call, Satya said that the PC Game Pass subscription increased 159% year over year. And with cloud gaming, more than 20 million people have used the service to stream games to date. And for reference, they reported 10 million earlier in the year in April, leading lots to speculate that Fortnite deal has really been paying off. Fortnite not natively, but you know what I mean? No, like with touch controls and everything, working on xCloud. So big gains on cloud gaming and PC Game Pass. Yeah, any thoughts about that in particular?
Not really, to be honest. I mean, it's a fantastic number. I mean, year over year to see growth like that. And when you factor in that, we're not even hitting our stride yet, the sort of PC Games Pass value and cloud gaming value is just going to keep skyrocketing like crazy. It's big. It's very exciting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think that this is the second half of really what I felt was some of the more interesting stuff that Satya spoke about. Where he said, quote, "As we look towards the holidays, we offer the best value in gaming with Game Pass and Xbox Series S. Nearly half of the Series S buyers are new to our ecosystem." Now we don't have exact numbers, so we can't calculate how many people are new to the ecosystem as a result of this. But we know the Series S has been selling pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And half of them being new to the ecosystem, I think really, crystallizes the strategy that Xbox went forward with here. And it ties in the whole debate again about, is Xbox holding back next gen games? And for Xbox, was this a valuable trade-off? And I think at the very least we can point to this to some degree and say, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big half.
Yeah,
Yeah,
50% of all sales of, like we said, is no doubt the Series S has sold more than the Series X, right? Um, by
yeah,
by quite some margin, and half of them being brand new to the ecosystem is kind of nuts. It just shows that it's that great affordable option, next gen affordable option that people are going to pick up with faith that Xbox are hitting their stride, next year, and they're going to come on board. Um, it's just such a great entry point. Um, it's kind of mental, and it definitely was the right move based on seeing these figures. Yeah,
yeah. And it's really interesting because there's a bit of a back and forth here because as much this is at the earning call, so obviously Microsoft doing a lot of puffing their chests out, making all the billionaires happy so that they'll continue to invest, all of that stuff. And they also said that Xbox started off the new fiscal year with a historical Q1 earnings record with 3.61 billion generated in Q1 23. That number is so big it doesn't really mean anything to me. Great, good for you. But this is the flip side, right? Supposedly, Xbox are still selling their consoles at a loss, somewhere in the region of $100 to $200 per console, which is quite big. It's normal for consoles to start off selling at a loss, and then at some point in the gen, that stops. For a variety of reasons, the components get cheaper. Sales are so much bigger that they start to make profit, etc., etc. The Switch and the PS5 are no longer selling at a loss.
yeah,
And the Switch got an insane amount of momentum coming out the gates, launching with Breath of the Wild and what was it like, the Mario Kart remix or whatever it is, Mario Kart 8.
Yeah,
That was already on Wii U, Deluxe, that's the one. And the PS5, obviously, it still had a lot of momentum coming off last gen. So I just thought it was really interesting because I had a couple of users on Twitter correct me about this because I had assumed that most of the consoles at the moment were still selling at a loss. Maybe not the Switch because it's been around a while, but the PS5 isn't either. And of course, it doesn't help. It doesn't hurt that the PS5 isn't selling a hyper cheap alternative like the Series S is, and that the PS5 has hiked prices recently, although they stopped selling at a loss, I think, sometime late last year. So it kind of just raises the question of like, these numbers are really big. Loads of people are coming on board, but how long really are Xbox going to do this for? How long are Xbox going to take a loss on console sales?
yeah,
At some point they've got to be like, okay, we need to this needs to stop happening. And that doesn't mean they're not making money. They make money on software sales, but on console sales, like it just seems like maybe for them an ineffective cost sink. And that worries me a bit because that makes me think maybe they do just shift to publisher, right?
yeah. I mean, I was about to say how would they go about countering this selling at a loss thing moving forward?
More expensive consoles.
Yeah, just jack up the price like 2 years in. It's so weird to do. Such an odd thing to do.
Yeah, more expensive consoles, or they don't have a cheaper alternative, or they sell lots of other backdoor stuff like striking deals with component manufacturers, which I'm sure they already have. So
So this is both consoles, both Series S and X are selling at a loss, or is it just the X?
I don't know actually. I don't.
Series
think
S components might be different, and maybe they're not selling at a loss as they're so easy to get hold of and stuff like that because they haven't had any stock issues with the Series S, have they? So
no, but I would imagine they're selling that at a loss as well. Like that console is so cheap, it just makes me think they've got to be subsidizing it somehow.
Yeah.
And Joaquin says here in the chat, don't forget that recently some documents showed that Xbox has never made a profit on consoles, so it's nothing new. Yeah, and it might just be that thing that it's a bit of like a cold bucket of water of kind of, Xbox have never been a big player. Like they've done well. 360 was obviously their biggest gen, and they're growing gen on gen, but they've always been third place in terms of share. Because if they had more share, they would make more money, and they wouldn't have to sell at a loss. So it just an interesting little thing.
Yeah,
just
definitely.
An interesting little thing.
Yeah, it is weird. Yeah, it's especially weird considering the PS5 isn't selling at a loss.
Yeah.
And
And
I definitely would have expected them both to still be. Yeah.
So I guess like the other side of this is that someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the PS3 sold at a loss its whole lifespan, and it speaks to the flop. It wasn't a flop, but it speaks to the loss of momentum that console had.
Yeah.
And shows how much momentum really the PS5 still has. So. Okay, so with all of this in mind, because this all ties into the interview that I keep mentioning with Phil Spencer over at the Wall Street Journal, spoke about a number of things. He spoke about kind of the pace, the uptake with Game Pass. He spoke about the price of stuff. And I think that's where I would like to start. He essentially said that we've held on price for a long time. When our competitors haven't, and I don't think we'll be able to do that forever, but we want to keep things fixed for the holiday. He didn't point to anything specific. He didn't point to like Xbox Live Gold. He didn't point to Game Pass. He didn't point to consoles. But what do you think? Like, what and when is my question to you? Like, if one of these things is going to go up in price, what is it, and when does it happen?
What one of these things being either Games Pass, just software in general, or what was the other thing you were saying? Console.
Or console, I forgot about games. Like, what do you think do they all go up, and does that happen in 2024, or do one of these things go up like halfway through next year?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Xbox have ever been the sort of company that just jacks everything up immediately. They've never just been that whole, just lump. Let's just do it all. They're quite PR conscious, I think, with that sort of stuff. So I don't think they'd be like, we're up in consoles, we're up in software, we're up in Games Pass.
I don't know. That Xbox Gold, that Xbox Live Gold price increase.
Oh yeah, okay, that was true.
What the fuck was that?
Didn't that immediately get? Yeah, I mean that was weird, but didn't it immediately get cancelled
in a couple of days?
Yeah, that was odd. I don't know what that was. But yeah, that definitely is
a stroke.
That is an outlier. To definitely consider that. I mean, I think the most realistic one to say that will jump up first is just software, right? Just software like outside of like Games Pass. They'll just jump up to that £70 gap that PlayStation have already committed to with all theirs. Obviously, that's outside of AAA IPs that are owned by them, because we know that will obviously drop into Games Pass. But then equally, you could also see Games Pass just seeing an increase, especially coming into 23, because there's just so much. Like, it's just crazy. Like, everything is just hitting Games Pass in 23 and 24, and it might just have a bit of like a Netflix sort of situation where Netflix were like, we're pumping out so many shows, we're spending so much money on this, we kind of just have to up our price. There has to be some profit in there for us. So it will definitely be on the software side of things. I think we'll continue to take a loss and not jack up console price, especially as it's just been a thing for Xbox in the past to do that and just always take that on the chin. So yeah, I'd probably say that, and I'd probably say that's going to happen sort of midpoint 23. I think they'll let a couple hitters come into Games Pass, and get everyone on board, and then when even more hitters start to enter it towards the latter half of 2023, then they'll up the price. I don't think it'll be at the beginning. I think they'll let a few people sink their teeth into a few AAA first parties,
Right.
and then they'll be like, "There's more on the way. We're increasing our price."
Yeah, and I think that's the really interesting part of all of this. I think the consensus probably is that something's going up next year, whether it's price of games or it's Game Pass. Something's going up next year. Maybe it's both, right? But I'm interested in, like, let's say Redfall is March, and then let's say Starfield is May, right? Do both of those things jack up for Redfall or Starfield, or do they announce it halfway through the year to be going up at the end of the year? I feel like that would be the best way to do it, because if they said in advance, with Starfield coming and all the investment we're doing with our first party content and our IP, and Starfield really being the beacon of that hard work, it's going to be more expensive, and Game Pass, I think that would put people on edge, because it would mean so much is hinging on Starfield.
Yeah.
Like, if they put the price up and then Starfield didn't meet expectations, that would be such a tectonic PR blunder. Like, because I would say generally PR's had Xbox has had good PR for the last year. Generally, they're gaining momentum. Everybody's still a bit like, you're delaying games. They're just around the corner. We've been at this just around the corner for the last 2 or 3 years. It's still been, we've still had some stuff throughout which has been good, and Game Pass has continued to be really good value. But with that first party stuff, we just haven't got there yet. And then to finally get there, prices go up, and the flagship title to not meet expectations, that would be dreadful.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the interesting thing to me. It's like, how do they do it in line with Starfield, or do they wait till the end of the year or announce it earlier? Because I personally feel like an early announcement and a later change is the best way to do that.
Based on what you said with the whole the blunder that would be Starfield, I think it just makes sense to do that. I think that's kind of the best way to approach it, what you said. And I don't think, like, Xbox are used to taking a loss on a lot of these things, as they're building up speed and ramping up with their software coming in 23 and 24. So I think it just makes sense. I think Philly's he's definitely the big picture kind of guy, right? And I think that's probably the way they'll approach it, to be safe.
Yeah,
because you just don't know if Starfield will live up to expectations. You like to hope so, but you never know.
Yeah,
Bethesda haven't always released bangers. Let's be honest.
They're generally very consistent, aren't they? It's just in recent years there's been one or two blemishes that's kind of offset people's confidence a little bit. With Fallout 76 and Wolfenstein. That's it, isn't it? It's just those two.
Yeah, and you could argue ESO. ESO got better with time, but it did take its time to get good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, the next part of the story is about Game Pass, and it's been long debated in the slug fanboy community that Game Pass isn't profitable. They're doing Game Pass at a loss. They're undercutting the competition to get people in the door. But we've had it kind of confirmed that Game Pass is profitable, and it accounts for about 15% of Xbox content and services revenue. And following up on that, Phil said, and I quote, "I don't think it gets bigger than that. I think the overall revenue grows so 15% to 15% of a bigger number, but we don't have this future where 50 to 70% of our revenue comes from subscriptions." So Phil's almost saying, like, we're pretty much at capacity with Game Pass. We think that, like, everybody who really wanted to be part of it will have got an Xbox and been part of it, or already had an Xbox and a part of it. Like, of course, might go up a little bit, but overall, we're kind of at capacity there. And I thought that was kind of interesting because like 15% of Xbox content and services revenue. Like, what do you think? Like, does that sound like right to you? Do you think?
I mean, to me, it sounds low, but then, yeah, I mean, I just don't know. I'm too ignorant to know, yeah, if that's a low or high number. But yeah, looking from the outside looking in, it seems like a low percentage, considering
Yeah.
all your eggs are essentially in that basket from a first party standpoint, software wise. Yeah, it seems relatively low. And the fact that they're making a loss on consoles too seems relatively low. But yeah, who am I to know?
I guess what it really, because I agree. Like, I think the number does sound quite low. But I guess what it does, it does make you kind of open your eyes a bit and think, oh yeah, we're in a bit of a bubble doing an Xbox podcast, aren't we? You know, you're like, yeah, in these circles where we talk about how good Game Pass is, because it is very good, but the remaining 85% is a mixture of what Xbox Live Gold and just game purchases.
Yeah.
People are just buying games.
Mhm.
What was the last game I bought? I'm struggling to tell you. Cult of the Lamb. I bought Cult of the Lamb.
Cult of the Lamb. Yeah, I was about to say it was quite recent. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, my purchases are very few and far between now, but that makes us outliers, you know, not the main, not that. And you know, like, I don't know if you've tried to explain Game Pass to someone who doesn't play games that much, but they struggle to get their head around it. Like, they kind of zone out.
Yeah.
They're like,
yeah.
they're like, subscription service for games, like, because a lot of them like don't play games anyway. There's like maybe 1 or 2 releases in the last 5 years they'd like to play, and so the idea
Yeah.
of subscribing to play a lot of games just kind of isn't really something they'd want to do anyway, because they don't see the value in a continued subscription.
Mhm.
So I think that kind of speaks to the number that Phil has been saying, you know, with how, where they're capping out a Game Pass and how much revenue is coming in.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, obviously they are happy with that number, right? He's come right out and said it, and as Joaquin put in the chat as well, you know, he's not going to come out and just like lie to the public and shareholders and stuff like that, and be like, yeah, we're happy with 15%, even though they're drowning, right? You know, he's obviously crunched the numbers and predicted the, you know, moving forward and the future of Xbox. And if anyone knows the future of Xbox and has pulled us out of a rut, it's Phil Spencer. So, you know, I'm sure he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, yeah, I mean, we're speaking like, you know, but like the conversation I just had, you know, that's not to say that I don't think this is an immensely an immensely successful venture. You know, like, for sure, Game Pass has been a huge PR win. It's profitable, you know, and like we keep saying, they're not even in full swing yet. When they're in full swing, when Starfield gets into Game Pass, you know, if this deal goes through and they start getting Game Pass exclusive Call of Duty benefits, you know, Blizzard, the next big Blizzard game gets stuff like that. That's going to really kick up these numbers. You know, Hellblade, Avowed, Elder Scrolls. You know, these big hitters are going to tip the needle, and we're just not there yet. And it's already profitable. Yeah, the thing is, I don't even know what to say to people who are like, oh, I don't believe the thing that X person is saying, because like this comes to like a whole moral code thing, and then it becomes a whole different conversation where a lot of people are innately conspiratorial, and it reminds me of the whole thing that just happened with the Bayonetta 3 voice actor. I don't think we spoke about it on the show, but you saw about it, yeah.
Yeah.
And when she was initially reporting the story, a lot of people, there was like a fraction of people who were like, she's lying. She's lying. She's just in it for herself, trying to, do this, that, and the other. Everybody was like, well, this is what's happening. And it's, quite commonplace for voice actors to be underpaid. So we're happy to lend a support. I know, obviously, the details came out. Seems like there was a bit of dishonesty in there and a bit of twisting to make it seem either worse than it was or, obfuscate the truth. And that doesn't tend to bode well. And then those same people were like, you should have listened. But it's like, changing your opinion when presented with new information isn't the dunk you think it is. When Phil says to my face and to shareholders, Game Pass is profitable, I'm going to believe that.
Yeah.
If another report comes out later, if Jason Schreier's report and says Phil Spencer lied at the Washington Journal interview, then I'll say, okay, that was silly of little old Phil. But I don't go into these things thinking everybody's lying to me.
Yeah, exactly. You don't go in so skeptical. Yeah.
We have a word for that. It's called paranoid.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I take it all as face value. Especially when it's someone, like I said, who has taken Xbox out of a rut, like seriously, and taken us in the right direction. So I have no reason to not trust Phil Spencer with what he says. So I'm not just going to be like, he liar, just like, it's just like I have no reason to think that way about him. So naturally I'm gonna accept these figures he's giving me and be like,
show me your tax returns.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I won't believe it until I see your tax returns. Sorry, Phil. And until then, I'm unsubscribing from Games Pass. Sincerely disappointed.
That's right.
Yeah.
A disappointed fan. Yeah. So something else that was spoken about in the interview was Xbox Keystone. You might recall Xbox Keystone as the rumored streaming stick, streaming puck, cloud streaming stick puck that was being spoken about. Has been spoken about for feels like a while now. And Phil straight up spoke about it because we spoke about it. It was on the shelf last week, wasn't it? It was on his shelf. Also, that's what we speculate anyway. And he said, to quote, Keystone was something that we were incubating internally. Late spring, we pivoted to working with Samsung. I still have the prototype. Will we do a streaming device at some point? I expect we will, but it's years away. So kind of surprised me actually. That I guess the point here really is that they realized that working directly with smart TV providers was a more direct way to get cloud in front of people rather than something like a Google thingy. What's it called? The plugin thing?
Stadia?
No, the streaming, the mirroring stick.
Oh, Chromecast.
Chromecast, yeah. Rather than something like that you plug into the back of your TV, they can just collaborate with Samsung, with LG, et cetera, with maybe Sony, I don't know, to just put it on the TVs. And it kind of makes a stick or a puck redundant in that way, right?
True. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It makes sense. Still surprising that it's a few years away. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have thought that it would be that much of a time gap, especially like we said, where we've seen companies crop up with these cloud handhelds. We've seen two in just this year pop up. One from Logitech and the other one from Razer. Was it Razer?
Yeah,
Razer. So yeah, it's very surprising that Xbox is still years away from having their own iteration of that. But yeah, as you pointed out, it makes sense if you're building it straight into TVs and partnerships that you're making. So yeah.
So yeah, to be fair, I don't really know if this is including like a portable streaming device, if that's what you're talking about. Because originally, like you said, Keystone was something that, supposedly was something that you plugged into your TV. But maybe that encapsulates that as well. Maybe they feel that being able to collaborate with these smart TV providers makes either a puck or a portable device redundant, and in which case I kind of makes sense. I guess there's still an edge case for take your portable device on the train, play it halfway up a mountain, like you can with your Switch.
Yeah. Best
I
ad
can't
ever.
believe they did that.
What? You've never just gone skiing and decided to just stop skiing, sit on the side of a mountain and play your Switch, and get frostbite in your fingers?
I haven't.
You've never thought about doing that?
No.
Imagine
I
how
haven't.
cold that would be for your hands, dude. Skiing and you pull out your Switch. Like my fingers would fall off, dude. They wouldn't work.
Like trying to use the touch screen and it's like it shatters because there's just frost on it.
Yeah. I always forget the Switch has a touchscreen. I genuinely forget that's a feature on it.
Yeah.
I've
It's
never
not used
wanted
very
to
much,
get
is it?
my fucking grubby fingers all over it because I play it mainly in portable mode. So it's just like I don't want to be touching the screen and leaving fingerprints all over it. I'd probably use touchscreen more but no, because that doesn't make any sense because I feel like it's just such a weird thing to put in. Like I don't know why they gave it a touchscreen. If I'm honest, when was the last time you poked your Switch's screen?
Yeah, I actually have a friend who has a Switch, and like he's had one for years. And I poked it when he brought it round once, and he was like, "What?" Like, he didn't know it had a touchscreen.
Yeah, like no, but it's such a pointless thing to build in, and like it must have cost them a fair bit of money. It just I wouldn't have bothered with it, and I think if they're doing like later models of it, I'd just leave it out. Personally, I know people would be like, well, it's downgraded. My last one had a touchscreen. This one doesn't. I miss poking it with my pizza fingers. No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't. Mate.
I suppose it is kind of pointless because it's a console that you can also put into a dock. Like a game can't design its mechanics around using the touchscreen.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you have to run across your room and poke it. Like put a fork in between the dock and the Switch.
Like the Wii U made sense because it was a console and the gamepad at the same time, so you could poke things while playing it on your TV. That made sense, but you can't with this.
Yeah, it makes sense.
If it's in there, you can't poke it. It's so I don't know. Anyway, that was a bit of a tangent, but yeah.
Yeah. Wow, we're coming up to 2 hours. What happened?
I don't know, man. Yeah, it's
what happened at the time?
I need my first coffee.
Okay. Okay, so this is the last part of kind of this whole story with. I mean, this technically didn't come from the interview. It came afterwards as part of a report, but supposedly, given all of this kind of mixed to good news, Xbox missed its Game Pass growth target. Bear in mind that the Game Pass growth is still positive year over year. It's just that they had higher internal projections. How much higher, you might be wondering? They expected 73% and got 28%. I don't know if it's just me. 73% seems a bit stupid, considering they had their two biggest hitters delayed out of the year.
Yeah, exactly. And then the biggest hitters turned out to not hit so big.
Yeah.
Which probably resulted in a lot of people dropping off quite early. They probably just played Halo Infinite for like a month and they were like, I'm done. I'm out.
That's right.
Sorry.
It's free to play anyway, so they don't even need it.
That's true. Yeah, that is true.
And they've got shitty perks for it, but it's not like it's a challenge reroll and a skin. It was like, give me some 100 credits. That'd be worth it.
Yeah.
I mean,
that'd be worth my Games Pass. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that seems stupidly steep, that number. Considering the start that we had. Bit unrealistic, that one.
Yeah, it does feel a bit unrealistic. So no real concerns, but some of this growth is a little bit slow. But again, you can't underestimate the importance of content. I know it sounds silly, but we need this content to appeal to the masses. Most people aren't like me and are not looking forward to Somerville and Grounded and Pentiment, and are not staying subscribed for that reason. Most people want a good deal on the big AAA games, and it's kind of like, come for the big games, stay for the little ones, and just not there yet. Just not there yet.
Yep. True.
Alrighty. 。 So I think final two stories then. So one of them was a report that Microsoft wants in on the next Chinese hit. And really, this is, to my knowledge, because of Genshin Impact, right?
Yeah. Genshin
Game's kind of
Impact
popped off a little bit.
was big. Yeah.
I don't know what that game is, going to be real with you. I don't know what it is. Everybody goes, it's like Breath of the Wild. Okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? It's an open world, it's green?
Yeah, it's like an open world, like JRPG. Yeah.
Right.
And yes, it has
Is
green
it
in
multiplayer?
it. I don't think it's multiplayer. I don't actually know. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. You got me by the balls here, dude. I don't know.
Yeah. Wow. Our resident Chinese expert doesn't know fucking anything.
Hey, more of a Japanese expert.
Yeah, I think it does. I think it does have.
It's a
multiplayer.
single-player
It's got-
video game, multiplayer video game.
What? Oh, great.
That's actually what it says. What? Okay, hang on. We need to dive deeper in this hole.
Sure. Well, I mean, it's great. It's netted $4 billion in revenue.
It's a big boy.
It is a surprisingly big boy, and obviously, it's not on Xbox. And allegedly, Microsoft attempted to acquire Genshin Impact for the Xbox before release. Sorry, this is like, I think, a translated article, so that didn't make that much sense. But I think essentially what the article is saying is they tried to get it on the platform, but didn't happen. I'm surprised it's still not, though. Like, that's kind of weird to me.
Yeah. Sony, mate. Sony locking it down.
Yeah, I guess.
Timed exclusivity. It's not toxic.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. So, yeah, it really doesn't surprise me, especially with Xbox. You know, we know they're trying to get more of an impact over in Japan and stuff like that, and China,
but internationally as well, right?
Yeah, and internationally, yeah. These games are massive worldwide, but yeah, I think just they're just trying to get their foot in the door with all this sort of stuff. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that their next big one they're probably going to bid pretty high on. So yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure Phil is on record saying that they're interested in like India as like an area which is growing very fast in the great game industry. So when we're talking about acquisitions, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they're looking at those markets, or maybe not acquisitions right now, but maybe kind of, you know, a couple of timed deals or marketing deals just to see how they get on, and, you know, kind of butter some of those teams up for acquisition. Because those are markets that they clearly have interest in, and it's, you know, it's part of the reason why they keep missing out on these, because they don't have their, like you said, they don't have their foot in the door for these markets. You know, they don't really have an established base in China. Whether that's the consoles, or, you know, I think it goes both ways, doesn't it? It goes both ways in terms of a platform's player base not playing a certain type of game, but then also the country's player base not having a type of platform. Like, it goes both ways. So if they start investing in Chinese games or Indian games, you might see those areas have like a better uptake. Like, you look at Mexico is always a big one. I don't know how much of an investment Xbox actually has in Mexico, just that we know Gears of War really fucking pops off over there.
Yeah.
So that's why that country gets a lot of investment now. Like, they had XO 20 there, maybe XO 19, one of them in Mexico. So it gets more investment.
Forza, the new Forza was in Mexico.
That's right. It's just things like that. So Mexico. It is Mexico, isn't it? It's not like Brazil. It is Mexico.
What, the new
Is that
Forza?
right?
Yeah, it was in Mexico.
The Gears of War pops off in.
Oh, I don't know. This is news to me. I didn't know.
I'm pretty sure it's
was
Mexico.
A specific
Okay.
area that Gears just fucking fragged in. I just.
Yeah, Gears always frags in. I really think it's Mexico. It might just be. Might be like Latin America in general, but That's fine. Yeah. So yeah, that's the point though. Cool. Okay. And final story then, as we've just ticked over 2 hours, is around the new Xbox UI. I think I had a dream about getting this UI. That's weird. That was a weird feeling that I just got in my brain right then.
What, the UI in the first screenshot, the first one?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we
Pretty
have
sure I
spoken
have
about before.
this
But
one.
so the most obvious thing, I have the search bar and the settings. Can you
Yeah,
share it on
I
the
have
stream?
that. Yeah, I can do. Yeah.
But it's like flat because the old one or the current one for most people is that the current game tile is really big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
Yeah, I can see
yeah,
it.
so, and so a lot of the it's become available to a lot of the insiders now, and there's been a couple of reports, particularly from Tom Warren, saying that it feels like too much of a Game Pass ad right now. And which I think is fair, right? Because like that, I know they're trying to peddle Game Pass, and that's fine, but there's just so much room for good shit on a dashboard.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why Xbox have become so afraid of horizontal scrolling. I just have a tab, I can press RB Game Pass, and you can put whatever you want on that.
Yeah.
You can absolutely litter it. But for this, let me have my activity feed, let me have my pinned games and this and that and the other, let me customize it. Why can't we customize this? Isn't it built on like Windows? Isn't it built on XWP? I don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's kind of all I want of it. It's just, yeah, just to have it customized, and then yeah, you can advertise the shit out of Games Pass to me. Just don't have it clutter my main screen when I boot up. Let me have my main screen to be, my games that I'm playing recently, my favorite friends and what they've been up to,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And then if I want to just, like you said, just click one button, one user input to come over to Games Pass, and you're just like, download this, download this, download this. You're cramming shit down my face. It's great. I don't mind that. I've come over to that section for that reason. But yeah, I do kind of agree that it's a bit offensive like right off the bat. It's just like,
Yeah.
It's just all, yeah, definitely.
And of course, it's blocking the dynamic backgrounds, which we keep giving fan feedback that we want more dynamic backgrounds and that we want to be able to see them more. I know, because what we're looking at right now, again, sorry, audio listeners, but hopefully you've seen it. But it's essentially 2 rows of most recent games, and then there's like ads, my games and apps, Microsoft Store, across like the middle of the home screen. So it's like it takes up more space than what you've probably got on your Xbox right now. If they got rid of that bottom row and just shifted the top row down, I'd be happy with that. I don't need the Microsoft Store badge there. I don't need the My Games and Apps badge there. It's on the blade, like when I press my Xbox button.
Yeah.
I don't need that there. I know there's an ad, but like if there was just all shifted down, I'd be pretty happy, like to the bottom of the screen. Do you know what I mean? Am I explaining it well enough? Yeah.
I think I know what you mean. Yeah.
And prior to this update, the insiders were reporting that you couldn't pin your content to the below. So when you scroll down, it was just Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass.
Yeah.
Like categories popular, most down. Whereas like now you can pin stuff when you scroll down, but that wasn't a thing, but that's very recently been re-added. So we can only hope that they are taking this feedback seriously, because this is an actively worse dashboard than what I have right now. So before they roll it out, I really hope they listen, and because this needs quite a few major reworks in my opinion.
Yeah.
If they really want to listen to what people want, other than just have another okay dashboard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay, and like you said, worse in a lot of ways as well. And yeah, it's just so weird with the whole route they're going down, like you said, with the dynamic backgrounds, and they're starting to work work with these, and you'd like to think they'll make some really cool ones with first-party ones coming in the future, like Avowed and stuff like that. And it's just like
Avowed, a Starfield one, a Redfall one. Oh,
yeah, like in this screenshot, I can see like the top of a windmill and a bit of grass.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah. That's right.
On the dynamic
Yeah, like,
background.
what game is that? Like, what game is that? You could not tell me.
Like, it genuinely, it's such a cool dynamic background, but to me, it just looks like one of the starting Windows home screens that you get. Like when you first boot up the laptop or something like that, and it's just like there's just so much potential here. Just let the user choose how cluttered they want your dashboard. Like a couple of advertisements here and there if you need to do that, but then everything else, leave it up to the user. If they only want one fucking block there, apart from a couple of your ads, let them do that. And if people want to cram it with a bunch of squares, also let them do that. Just give us the freedom of choice, with obviously a few staples.
Because the fact that they haven't done that still after, because this is just like a chat, it's a revamped version of the same dashboard from 2013, and that was all running on the same XWP as well. Like the fact that we haven't gotten any real customization since then just makes me think that it's never going to happen. Maybe there's some sort of technical limitation, or there's just something that they can't, that was stopping them doing it. And if they can't, because they should prioritize that, but if they can't, just like make this less obstructive over the background, make it a bit more minimal, because like half this shit can go in the blaze when you push your Xbox button, I feel anyway, and then give it a bit more space, so it breathe a bit.
Yeah. That's an extra button for users to press to get to your stuff,
Oh, I hate that.
People don't like that,
All right. Well, that's it. We did it, everyone. God damn it, I keep forgetting to do the whole, don't like thumbs up, subscribe, subscribble, notification bell. I keep forgetting.
Yeah, you always forget to get halfway, but oh well.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Tim's gonna hit jingle, and we're gonna hit you with a saucy outro. It's already got this guy.
Oh, crap.
This fucking guy. He's good at what he does. All right, everyone. If you have enjoyed being here, then do consider coming over to us on Twitter, having a little follow there. Do consider giving us a like. We will do this at 12:30 BST every Sunday.
Till the end of time.
And till the end of time, which could really just be a couple of months.
At least.
Yes.
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, we had daylight savings, didn't we? I mean,
what do you know?
I've had a few DMs from somebody called Putin42069, and let's just say I am worried.
Why is he DMing you with like nuke threats?
I don't know. That's how much of a big deal I am. You should probably come and check out the Twitter, just to be sure. And just in case you want any time conversions, we're also around 7:30 a.m. EST, 4:30 a.m. PST, and 6:30 CST as well.
Good job.
So, thanks for joining us. We'll catch you on the flip side.
Bye-bye.
Ciao, Bella.
Bye.
That means goodbye, beautiful.